Talking, just hold your phone up to the mic.
What is up, you guys?
We're live.
We're live right now.
Hello. welcome to the podcast.
Oh, guys, we are live in the Tornado Alley, Harry Tornado's house. Welcome.
We're here. We're doing a live podcast. If you were on Joey Bada Bing 22's live listing video last night on YouTube, we told you guys we were going to go live for our podcast episode because we are actually a day late because we were recording a very special video yesterday, Monday, March 8th, 2021. And so now we're here Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. So we decided since we're all together, we're going to go live and we're just going to have a good time and
talk about whatever we want to about reselling, eBay, YouTube, and being three friends. So my name is Drew with Profit Monsters on YouTube.
I'm Joey Bada Bing 22, your local mailman.
And I'm Harry Tornado.
Welcome.
Let's see. It looks like we got 4 viewers over here.
Viewers.
Let me pull up the live chat. Make sure if you guys are one of the 4 people watching this live right now, drop some comments in the chat and let us know who you are and why you're here.
At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Let us know if the stream looks and sounds okay. We're trying to use 2 cameras and 2 mics, and generally when that happens, we gotta make sure everything is going well. Chris, Rolling with Stones, what's up, man?
What's up?
Happy to have you.
So, the hats that we have on today, my mom and dad made these hats for us, and we're all wearing them. So, Triple Thrift Podcast.
There you go, baby.
No link in the description. There's only 3 of these, so maybe we'll make some merch one day, but we're not there yet. We are just talking to you guys about YouTube, eBay, reselling, Mercari, Amazon, Depop,
Facebook Marketplace,
everything.
How to be a YouTuber. Well, Josh will tell us all that because I don't know how to be a YouTuber.
But anyway, we just always love getting together and chatting it up and talking, and it's just really special because we're here together, so we actually get to interact with each other a little more than we normally do, whereas we are looking at each other on our webcams when we're recording the podcast. And so we normally kind of do our podcast like an off-the-cuff kind of thing where we don't pick specific topics. We just begin to talk. We talk about, our weeks, how they've been going, what we've been up to, and then it leads to, reselling content and conversation. So this podcast will be a little different because we will probably stop a little bit to talk to you guys that are in the live chat as we are recording this. So thank you so much for being here. And I know it looks like we're not looking at the camera, but the camera is this way, but then Josh's computer is this way. So we're trying to look at the chat and look at the camera so you guys can see Joey's beautiful face. And so Josh is probably checking the sound quality right now, so I'm just going to keep talking. But Joey, how has this week been for you?
This week's been awesome. We've been talking about what we were going to do yesterday for a while, and that was awesome. But I'm just so glad to be here together with you guys, the 3 of us doing a podcast together. This is the first time doing this together, so I'm really glad to be here. What about you, Josh? How do you feel?
I'm so glad to be here. Conru says, love the hats. Y'all look okay. Last night was with the darker background was more perfectly clear. Last night we were using a different camera lens, and it was nighttime. So we could, I don't know. We wanted multiple cameras and we have multiple mics. But for the first live podcast, I feel like this is working out pretty well. But yeah, thanks. We got 20 people here already. That's awesome. What's up, boys? Philly Picker, Art Vandalay, Colby, Yakov, A Vintage Mentality. Awesome.
So I saw Yakov post on Instagram. He's in like the medical community for work, and he's a part-time reseller. I saw him post on his Instagram yesterday. He was like, guys, I've been listing all day and I am burnt out and I want to quit. So let's talk about that a little bit. For like Josh, you and I are full-time, and then Joey is part-time, and just kind of like some of the processes of being a reseller. And I guess you could say I think we've talked about in past episodes like what it takes to be a reseller. But as far as like listing is concerned, I would say that I think listing is probably one of the most important parts of being full time, and you have to be able to be disciplined, as well as you have to know that this is something you're going to have to wake up and do every day. Well, you should do it every day at least, but I mean, it just depends on how you're sourcing, how you're thrifting. Like, for example, Tim Osborne of Thrift. Shout out, Tim. It's like it's like because he's very relatable. I feel like he should be like the fourth boy in the Triple Thrift podcast, but the Quadruple Thrift podcast. But he's so relatable, and he's one of those guys where he'll go sourcing for like 3 days, and he'll get like 600 items, and then he'll come home, he'll clean them all, he'll test them all on different days, and then another day he'll list like 300 items, and then the next day he'll list 300 items, and then he won't list anything for like a week. So you don't necessarily have to list every single day, but according to like the eBay algorithm and all those kinds of things, people say that you should list every day. So how do you feel about that, Josh?
Well, first of all, I've been spending a lot of my time recently planning the video that you guys came up here to help me film. So I don't think I've listed anything on eBay in like over a week, but obviously you guys are going to leave today, I think, and then I'll have the rest of this week to kind of get back on track. Actually, to be completely honest, I'll probably spend the rest of this week editing the video that we filmed, but we'll get back to it. I think it is important to list at least a small amount of things every day, just because even taking the eBay algorithm out of it, I just think it instills like
work ethic.
Yeah, work ethic, and it's a good habit to get into, like waking up and even just 3 things, just waking up every day and listing 3 items. I think that's definitely not going to hurt you. I'm more of the Tim model probably. Like I'll do like 30 or 40 golf clubs and like clean those and take photographs and then list them in a day, and then won't list anything else for a couple days. But again, I don't think my store is like something to compare to, because even with the golf clubs, I have a lot of viewer sales and stuff like that. So it's definitely the numbers are skewed for sure. But I think in general, listing a couple things 5 days a week is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, for me,
Joey lists on Mondays, and that's it.
I mean, that's the truth. But also, like, before doing all of this, what I used to do was, I used to go to a thrift store every day on my lunch break. And now it's different because I have a different route now. So I've been doing the walking route, which is not near Goodwill. So what I've been doing is, I'll go maybe when I have another route at another location, I'll go there on my lunch break for sure and pick up some stuff. And the biggest thing that Drew always talks about is being disciplined. So you guys need to stay disciplined, get out there, grind it out, bring it home, list it, because that's the only way you're going to make money. Don't bring it home and just look at it. I mean, take a couple pictures, even if they're not as good as that you want them to be. That's how you guys make money. And the biggest word I love that, I know I keep saying this, but discipline, guys. Just be so disciplined that, you get stuff done. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, that's such a key word in this job that we do. So yeah.
I think with discipline, it's kind of a lot of people, when you start like a job or a work, or like even, for example, like folding laundry or cleaning the house maybe, a lot of people don't like doing those things. But then I think a lot of people, or a big percentage of people, will find that as they start to do something and they get momentum in it, then it's easier to keep going. Like you start folding laundry, and then, from there, you just keep folding the laundry, versus like the first couple pieces, you're like, ugh, this is a pain in the butt. I don't want to do this. And then you get into it, and then, 30 minutes later, you're done and you've got your laundry done. So, I think that is kind of the same way with eBay, is like you have a death pile, or you have stuff you need to list, and you'd rather play video games, you'd rather watch Netflix, you'd rather go out and source more. But if you just get in your office, like Joey said, have some discipline, you get the like 1 or 2 things listed. Like, I bet after last night on Joey's live listing, since I made him get on the ground, get that picture of the Nerf gun, then do the Billy Bass, you did those, I bet you could have gotten into a rhythm, and you probably could have kept going.
Well, it's good that, you have like a support system. So let's say your spouse or, you know, your kids or, you know, anybody, your parents, you know, it's always good to have somebody to say, let's go. You know what I mean? And that's what we're here for as well, you know, to motivate you, to mentor you, to get you going. So yeah.
And just want to say hi to everybody in the chat that's here. Obviously, we're still trying to keep this somewhat regular as far as a podcast so that people who aren't watching live can still listen. But thank you to everybody who's here, especially Joe. Proud of
Dad,
you guys.
I
Joe,
love you.
Joey's dad in the chat. So he said, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. And I think that rings true a lot for Josh because he's found, right, Josh, that
You love making YouTube videos and you love editing them and you love being a content creator, probably more than you love being a reseller at this point.
Yeah.
So
I think I've made that pretty clear multiple times. Always, like,
But there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, I love reselling and finding things. Like I've always said, even if I get to a point where one day where I'm like, you know, a millionaire and retired, like I'm still going to go to thrift stores. I'll just take my Tesla Model X or whatever I have at the time and just go to the bins and still find stuff because I still get like a thrill of it. But obviously, like listing stuff and dealing with customer service and shipping delays and broken items, like that's not fun. That's like the bad part of reselling. So if I can get to a point where I can just do the fun stuff, like just source stuff and maybe have like one employee or something to help with all the stuff, you know, outsourcing stuff you don't want to do. That's the key to like growing a business.
yeah. And that's how businesses grow too. I mean, when you look at, like, for example, someone like
Josh, I consider Josh, you know, a big inspiration to me because he's taken something that he enjoyed, that he loved, you know, reselling, and he's become an entrepreneur, like, and made a business out of it. And now he's, you know, got affiliate links, he's got sponsorships, he's got, you know, YouTube revenue, he's, you know, growing, he's got merch sales, he's got all these types of things. And I don't see that as like a bad thing or taking a step away from being a reseller. I see that as the entrepreneur dream. Like everybody thinks, well, I got to start somewhere. Whether you're a reseller or you're a nurse or you're, you know, in college or you know, work at a fast food restaurant or wherever, I don't think anybody ever starts at their original starting position, whatever job they have, and say, I think I just want to work at Taco Bell for the rest of my life. You know, or I just want to be a bag boy at Publix. But then you get an opportunity to be a stock clerk. And then you get an opportunity to be an assistant store manager, a grocery manager. And then you get an opportunity to be an assistant, you know, grocery manager or whatever. And then you move up in the chain. But people don't look down upon you and say, oh, you should have just stayed a bag boy. You took the easy way out because, you know, you moved up to the stock clerk position. And I think that rings true for how I view Josh, you know, as a reseller. I mean, you're still a reseller, but you focus on the stuff that generates you more revenue and that you enjoy to do more. And so, you know, if Cincinnati Picker enjoys going to garage sales more than he enjoys going to thrift stores, you're going to see him go to more garage sales than thrift stores. Yeah. He's not just going to go to thrift stores, you know, because he has to do it for his job. He's going to figure out a way to do his job and find stuff that he wants to sell in the way that he likes to do it. So
yeah, in a couple of episodes ago, I don't remember which one it was, but we were talking about Ryan from Rally Roots and how he's more of an entrepreneur instead of a reseller. Like he's just really good at finding new ways to make money, and all those ways aren't necessarily buying
the eBay route.
Yeah, the eBay route.
Exactly.
So I think that's probably. I mean, I like I said, I thoroughly enjoy reselling. I'm going to be thrifting and finding items that I can flip for the rest of my life. But in terms of like the business, like I'm definitely open to finding easier ways to make money. I think reselling is fairly easy once you have some experience and you do it a while. But I mean, to not constantly be on the lookout for easier ways to make more money is just dumb, in my opinion. So again, I'm always going to be a reseller. I'm not going to. Oh, once Harry Tornado hits 100K, he's gonna not resell it. No, that's not gonna happen. I'm always gonna be me. But like I said, it'd be dumb to not explore other avenues of revenue, especially if they're easier and more enjoyable for you.
I personally like when they find stuff at like a garage sale, Rally Roots, and they just straight up put it on their Instagram and say, hey, $100 shipped or something like that. Like that's amazing. Imagine being on that platform knowing that, hey, I'm gonna put this on and someone's gonna grab it, you know. just because they either love Rally Roots or maybe they need that for their inventory. They're sick and they can't go out and find, let's say the vintage clothing or stuff like that. It's very cool to be on that level. Like we can probably say, hey, we have a mystery box. Josh puts up a mystery box.
I'm going to be selling my triple thrift hat. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Papa Joe.
Dad, we love you.
We love you so much. I'm never going to sell this.
Oh, so yeah.
I think reselling or business in general, like for somebody who doesn't have like naturally a business mindset or an entrepreneurial mindset, but wants to like break out of the 9 to 5 or whatever, you have to make like a big shift in your mental understanding of business and entrepreneurship, and that is something that like I try to work towards on my channel. Like for those of you guys who don't know, I'm also a real estate agent, so I have my real estate license. I have a deal closing in about a week, so I'm making money from that. I try to make money on Instagram by posting stuff kind of like Rally Roots, but on a smaller scale. Like if I find something cool, I share it with people, and then if someone messages me and says, how much do you want for it? I mean, then I name a price, and sometimes it sells and sometimes it doesn't. But the definition, and the meaning of entrepreneurship is like always finding ways of making money, always finding ways to grow, to expand, to adapt and to change. Those are like actually that's an oxymoron, adapt and change. But in business ways, to adapt to the market and to change to the market, and when it's moving and when it's shifting. And so like sometimes when you follow trends, for example, the Dr. Seuss books, like that trend was like 2-3 days long when the prices spiked, and now you can't sell them on eBay. You can probably still sell them on Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, whatever, but the hype was in the original like 3 days. And that's why I enjoy like Reezy Resells, because he knows how to hop on trends as soon as they happen. When COVID hit, he was selling, the hair trimmers on Amazon, and he made whatever, $20,000, $100,000. I don't know how much it was. He didn't share the number, I don't think, but he was able to capitalize on that market because he was thinking, how can I, since I can't go out and go to thrift stores or go to garage sales or, do these regular reselling things, or retail arbitrage, how can I make money during this time? And essentially, that's what Ryan and Allie did during the pandemic last year. They capitalized on the vintage clothing market because it really started booming during the pandemic because everybody was stuck at home. So people were showing off their pieces. People were doing these live auctions. And Ryan and Allie couldn't go to garage sales and thrift stores. And a lot of people kind of, in my opinion, gave them crap for it. Was like, you guys are changing up your whole YouTube channel. I don't like it. But when you think about it from a business standpoint and an entrepreneur standpoint, they were actually doing what was very smart for them. And they were finding something that they could continue to make money and revenue off of while the world was shut down, and they were selling things over the internet through Instagram, and the vintage t-shirt market was popping. So they took advantage of that and they capitalized on it. And I think they're great business people. So, you got to kind of switch your mentality that way sometimes and just think about, what the market is doing, how you can make money. If you're a late night person, you need to get on, auctions, like high bids and those types of places if thrift stores are closed. If you're a morning person, get up and be the first person at thrift stores. There's something for everybody. So
multiple ways to win. Shout out Nicholas Woolsey, good friend of ours. Nick! I don't want to give too much away, but he's a really cool guy, and you're going to be seeing some stuff from him in the future. He says, hold on there, camera. He says, plans are fluid. They change over time because life is constantly changing and shifting. Just start where you are and adjust the plan as you move along and doors open and close for you. That's a great comment, Nick. I appreciate that, man.
That's great.
A lot of people in the chat. We got 62 people watching this. It's pretty good
That's
for
awesome.
a kind of relatively unplanned podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nick Pick Thrift says, such a great podcast today. Thank you. We appreciate that. And Bluegrass says Pokemon is already coming back down. I haven't looked at Pokemon card prices. Have you guys noticed that recently?
No. It's such a market that there's so many ways to sell things, like get them graded or, just buying them on eBay and trying to flip them. I feel like it's gone down a little bit. There was too much hype after the 25th anniversary, and then it's kind of probably dying down just a little bit,
Well, I think when you have people also like big influencers right now on social media, like Gary Vee, Logan Paul, they're paying $300,000 for $400,000 for a Pokemon First Edition booster box base set, and then they're selling each booster pack for $40,000 so that you can get a shout out on their page. That's Logan, not Gary, but Gary, has been buying sports cards and stuff. Like, when you have that kind of, liquid money available, you can take over a market where someone like me, who likes it as a hobby, breaking packs and opening stuff and finding a rare card and selling it on eBay for $50 or $100, it kind of takes away from, I guess you could say, the little guy, when someone like Logan is selling $1 million worth of base set Pokemon cards, and then he pulls 2 first edition Charizards. And it's like the hype of the original Charizard is slowly going down because nobody is paying $500,000 for a first edition Charizard anymore, unless it's like, Logan sells $10,000 raffle tickets and he sells 500 of them, and then he autographs the Pokemon card or something. You know what I mean? So those types of things have driven the market up because, but it's also going to crash, I think, or come down, like Bluegrass Picker said. Anthony, thanks for being here. But I definitely think it's going to go back down a little bit.
But it's also like, okay, with sports cards, there's active people playing in a game, getting triple double and like Zion, or there's no Pokemon that's like, hey, I just beat you in a battle. You know what I mean?
Really well this week.
Right. Like there's no, it's just a card. You know what I mean? Unless they come out with a new episode on Pokemon. But with sports, a higher value may come because like I said, he did a great slam dunk or hit a home run.
Such a good
point.
Thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
A basketball card could double in value
Of
overnight.
course, yeah.
If, like, somebody has a good game.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, because the hype was for the 25th anniversary. Everyone's like, hey, it's coming up, and then it drops. Then it's like, what else now? It's the hype of things. Just like the Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah, I think everything has a max value at some point in the market too. So when you're talking about financially, even I'm looking at these Funko Pops behind the webcam that's set up that Josh has, and it's like, he has all these Office Funko Pops. He'll turn it around and show you real quick. But so these Funko Pops, like the Office, the only way that those Funko Pops are going to dramatically increase in value is if the Office did like a 25th anniversary re-get together or something like that. And someone like Josh, who's a big fan, would probably go out and buy that 25th anniversary Funko Pop for his collection.
Yeah.
But
I would.
but just because The Office is on Netflix or isn't on Netflix isn't going to make that pop go up in value unless something happened to an individual. Again, like with Kobe Bryant, unfortunately what happened, it drove the value of his
Shoes,
his jerseys,
cards.
his cards, and everything, because now he's no longer on this earth, and
and everybody wants a piece of that,
Right.
And it's the hype, you know what I mean, and it's just
Drifter says, I read somewhere, Joey, Charmander can't tear his ACL. Oh man, Charmander's out. His card's going down in value.
right.
Charmander.
He broke his left toe.
Oh no.
The flame on his tail is getting lower.
So
yeah, but it's just, you got to think of things differently like that sometimes, and that's really what it takes to grow a business, to scale a company from being like, hey, I'm just Drew Thrifts and Flips, to being like an actual Profit Monsters business. That's why I cross list a lot right now, but I'm building my income right now and trying to become debt free so that I can do other things. I want to open other businesses. Joey was sharing with us, like, guys, we need to buy a car wash. Like, that's where the money is. Like, I don't think that I'm just going to be thrifting and reselling on my YouTube channel for the rest of my life. Like Josh said, I think I'm going to be making content about thrifting and garage sales because I love to do that. But I want to make videos where it's like, I bought an axe throwing business, or I opened up a go-kart, track, or, just crazy stuff, because I feel like there needs to be more people in the marketplace that are sharing when they make big moves in business versus just like, you can make videos about thrifting, but are you really ever going to be able to scale one-off items? Maybe 1 or 2 people, because, they have really good thrift stores.
Shout out Tim.
Yeah, exactly. But
I think with reselling, it's definitely going to get harder and harder as we continue. There's more people coming into it every single day, and I think the long game, the long idea of whatever of reselling is that for the next 20, 30, 50 years, whatever, it's going to be a really good way for people to make extra cash. If you want to make an extra $1,000 a month or an extra $2,000 a month, it'll be, as I said, harder as we go, but still very possible. And that even when I started my channel, I was like, or started reselling, I was like, okay, I think that's going to be the future. So I need to figure out a way to kind of, I don't know, you can argue about the longevity of YouTube if you want, but I don't think YouTube's going anywhere anytime soon. But I wanted something to fall back on. I didn't want to have to depend on my local Goodwills for feeding my family, because a Goodwill can be bought out or have new management and instantly double in prices overnight, So again, getting into diversifying your portfolio. I think even with the amount of competition and creators on the YouTube platform right now, there's so much more money to be made on YouTube in any niche. Like, you can have multiple channels about like just plain entrepreneurship, like buying businesses and like,
right.
I mean, YouTube videos about car washes and axe throwing businesses, they do really well.
Yeah.
Because people love the idea of like investing in something and then that thing giving them money for free. Basically, it's not really free. It's a lot of work to own a business, but people that are trying to get into it for the first time have that mindset.
Well, and you look at other resellers who are like on YouTube, for example, maybe not resellers, business minded people on YouTube. For example, we were talking about them last night, but like Biaheza, I mean, he started making YouTube videos when he was like, I don't know, 15 or 16, and it was like skateboarding videos, and then he started making videos about drop shipping, and then he started making videos about stocks, and then he started doing ride-alongs with other businesses, and you have just people like that, like Graham Stephan, who started by being a real estate agent, and then he used his money from being a real estate agent and sharing that information on YouTube to then talking about stocks, and then talking about finances, and then interviewing, big people and famous people and all this kind of stuff. And now he's got this podcast, and he's, doing great. And all these people, if they would have just stayed, what people say, like, stay in your lane and just do the one thing that you started doing, they may not have ultimately found, happiness in what they were doing. Like Graham Stephan, is a real estate agent, and I'm a real estate agent, but where Graham is, where I don't know, he's in LA or somewhere really expensive.
He just moved to Las Vegas.
So Graham could be in the top 5% of real estate agents in Los Angeles and not be making half of what he's making just on YouTube AdSense.
Right. But Graham, he was talking about in one episode of his YouTube channel, or a video, I guess you could say, and it was like he was doing a deal with a client, and it was like a $1.2 million house, and he's going to get like a $40,000 commission off of that. Most of the deals I'm doing are for like $200,000 to $300,000 houses, and I'm making like anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 on a deal. So Graham is doing one deal that would take me like 7 or 8 deals to make here in like Apopka, Florida, where I live, because there's not like lifestyles of the rich and famous here for me to represent. So, but I think it's just cool because even though he was making really, really, really good money, like Josh said, he's making even more money on YouTube, and he's found more of an enjoyment and a passion in doing that than focusing full time on real estate.
Mm-hmm. And even it goes back to like the competition. Graham's talked about in the past. He used to be on the Wall Street Bets Reddit page when people were telling him to start a YouTube channel, and he's like, there's too many guys on YouTube. Like, I'm not gonna stand out. And he had all these doubts, and now, even with all the financial people there, I mean, there's people, the guy, I don't remember his name, but he and his wife have a photography channel called Mango Street, and he started like a finance and like entrepreneurship based channel like 6 or 7 months ago, and I think he's almost at 100,000 subs. I don't know, like, I think competition, especially on YouTube, only matters if they're better than you. If you can join a niche on YouTube that is really saturated, but you can provide content that is better than everybody else, or at least in the top, or it adds value, or at least in the top, 5 or 10% of creators in that field, you can rise to the top pretty easily. If it's a category on YouTube with a high RPM, then you can make some really good money. I mean, Graham, he went from doing real estate in Los Angeles, flipping houses and buying houses and renting them out, and now he doesn't even waste time with it. He's like, why would I waste time trying to compete and buy a house? Like, how hard it is to buy a house under market value in LA? Like, it's impossible.
Crazy, yeah.
And now he's like, I'll just stick with YouTube and making $6,000 to $10,000 a day, and that'll just be my job.
Shout out everybody in the chat. Tim, Taylor Exchange, Staying in Your Lane, Drifter Thrifters, Ashley, Thrift Online, Colby. You guys are all so awesome for being here. And we see all your comments in the chat. If you have any reseller comments specifically or anything you want us to discuss in this podcast, feel free to put them in the comments section below. We want to try to keep it somewhat focused just a little bit so that people that are listening to this after we're live can still get that podcast feel while they're driving or sourcing or doing their taxes or whatever. So speaking of taxes, maybe that's something that we could discuss a little bit. I actually started doing my taxes last week. I'm a little bit behind on that, but luckily my wife, we've owned multiple businesses in the past, and so that one aspect of all the businesses we've owned has always been something that she's done, like at the end of the year, the beginning of the year. She always does the taxes. I provide the numbers, I give the spreadsheets or whatever, and then she prints out our bank statements and goes through it and makes sure all the numbers line up. And so we're going to be submitting all that to our accountant probably this week coming up. Shout out to my wife, Danny, if you're watching, I love you. Or if you're listening, I love you. And thank you for all you do. But what about you guys? I know Joey asks me a lot of tax questions, so you need to start getting on that, don't you, buddy?
Yeah. I have my post office one, and then I have, my eBay one, but it's not as big as you guys, so it shouldn't be that bad, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know, I just think just keeping good records, like even just something as simple as just having a separate bank account just for your business would make it easy, because then you can literally just look at your bank statement, see all the money that came in, all the money that came out. That's essentially your profit in a very simple mindset. I think it gets tricky when, I don't know, people are just really confused. I think, I didn't make $20,000 on eBay, so I'm not going to owe any taxes, or I'm going to make, this one guy said he's going to make 6 eBay stores and keep each store under 20,000 so he doesn't owe taxes. I'm like, that is not accurate at all. So yeah, Matt in the fam says not tax advice. Yeah, this is not tax advice, but
absolutely.
I don't know. I think a lot of people are just, it's like two ends of the spectrum. Some people don't take it seriously enough. Like they think it's like a joke, and other people don't start a reselling business because they're terrified of taxes. I'm like, it's not. You just keep up with your profits and just pay your taxes.
You record what you buy, you record what you sell.
Anything that you spend on the business, like cameras, mics, printer, ink, anything like that, you expense all that out as a business expense, or and then you have your cost of goods for items that you actually resell. And
this one person messaged me on Instagram and asked me, and she's like, if I spend $50 on something and sell it for $100, is the $50 I spent on a tax deduction? I'm like, yeah. It seems like really common sense to me, but you got to remember there's people out there that just are totally new and have no idea. So yeah, any costs associated with buying and or cleaning or processing or listing or anything to do with that item in the process of getting it sold is generally a business expense.
Shout out to Joey's entire extended family in the chat. There's 8 sisters, 3 brothers, mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle in the chat.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
So we were talking about that last night too, just family and stuff like that, and it's just really cool to see all of Joey's family always in the chat, always in your lives, always supporting your YouTube, giving live super chats. So it's really cool to see that. And
we have a great question. This is from Beth Pickin, Georgia Peaches. Speaking on debt, how do you balance paying on debt versus scaling your business by reinvesting? Do you operate by percentages?
That is a great question.
That is a great question, because I feel like a lot of resellers have either started reselling because they're trying to pay off debt, or they just have debt naturally. I know a few resellers that are debt free, but I have debt. We're working on paying that off. Drew, you've talked in the past about paying off debt. Joey,
I don't have debt other than my house and my car, but it just gets paid,
Listing stuff on eBay to pay for the Tesla.
Exactly.
That'll work.
That's basically what I've been doing, is just paying for my house and my car with my eBay money. So
yeah.
And then playing with the rest. Or I could play with my eBay money. Or eBay paid for this.
eBay paid for this. So Drew, what do you think? How do you balance paying off debt versus reinvesting in the business?
So I don't really have a specific like number or percentage that I say like, all right, 10% of everything I make goes towards debt. But normally what I do is I try to just be very disciplined to know that like the sooner I pay off my debt, the more freedom I'm going to have. So, it depends on how much capital you have. Like right now, I'm in a financially okay position where I have money in the bank, I have savings, I'm putting away money for taxes. I also have income coming from my real estate career. So I have, multiple streams of income. I make like $150 a month on YouTube. So I don't even really like count that as income for me.
That is income.
At the moment. I mean, I do, but it's not like enough to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, I can pay off my debt in the next, 2 months because of YouTube revenue or anything like that. But since I've become a reseller, I have paid off so much debt that we had from either like a last business. My goal is to be 100% debt free, including my mortgage by the end of the year. And I don't owe that much on my mortgage. I owe about $38,000 on my mortgage. So I feel like between my mortgage and my credit cards, I have a business line of credit from a previous business that I have about $2,000 left on. Excuse me, that I'm paying off. But I think it just comes down to discipline. Like at the end of the day, it comes down to discipline. Like if you are in a high interest loan, like a student loan that's 18%, I would be focusing on paying that off as much as possible. If you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey and his debt snowball program, it's a very good way to learn how to pay off debt. If you are, there's so many things I could talk about with this. I don't want to be too obscure with my answer, but I think you just have to know where your numbers are at and know like, okay, I buy this much stuff and I sell this much stuff, so I need this much money to continue to streamline that much income. Like I know that I spend, almost every weekend I spend probably close to $200 to $300 at flea markets because that's where I get a lot of my inventory. And I can turn that $300 into over $1,000 easily, usually from the stuff that I'm buying. So if you know that you need $300 every weekend, you need to make sure that you're making enough to keep providing that $300 plus paying your eBay fees, putting money away for taxes, and then having extra on top of that. So anything extra from that $300 that you originally need to keep buying, that's what I would pay towards debt, if that makes sense. For me, I kind of use my Poshmark and my Mercari sales as extra income, and then I use my eBay money to pay my bills. So, and I make more than enough on eBay to pay my bills, but I use eBay to keep reinvesting into my business. And then every month or every 2 weeks, I take out money from Poshmark and Mercari, and that's kind of like either my extra money, my debt money, or something like that. So, and then I have my real estate money. So when I get a check or a cut from a real estate deal, I usually am just putting that towards debt, like almost 100% right now. So hopefully that helps answer the question. I know it was kind of like long drawn out there, but you just have to be very disciplined and know your numbers. So if you know you're making 1,000, or if you need 1,000 to pay your bills and you're making 1,500, then start putting $250 away towards debt, and then you have an extra $250 as like a buffer. Or what Dave Ramsey says, the debt snowball. You start with the smallest debt, you pay that off. If you have a $500 credit card and a $10,000 credit card and a $20,000 car, you make the minimum car payment, you make the minimum $10,000 car payment, and then you do whatever you can to bang out that $500 credit card, and you knock that out, and then all the money you are using for that credit card, then you start using towards the next debt, and it snowballs, and then you keep taking money from the last debt and adding it on to the next one, and then you can pay off debt faster. And you got to want it, though. Like, you got to want to pay off your debt.
Got to be gazelle intense.
That's right.
That's what Dave Ramsey says. So for us, I get asked a lot if it wasn't for YouTube, could I make a full-time living with eBay? And the answer is yes, because my wife and I basically live off of her income, and she doesn't make a ton of money. I mean, she has a pretty good job, but we just have a very low cost of living. Like, we just don't We buy like bills, like our house, like we live in a pretty normal house. Like we could probably pay all of our bills, including food and gas, insurance, everything, probably costs us about $3,000 a month, something like that. So we can live off my wife's income. Pretty much everything I make on YouTube and eBay is just all saved. And that allows me, one, it allows us to pay off debt. We paid off my car a couple months ago. We have enough money right now. We could pay off all of our debt except our house, but we just like having enough in the savings account just, in case. So we're probably going to pay off my wife's car in the next couple weeks. Then we have 2 student loans. I was trying to wait to see what was going to happen with the student loan program, because I was like, the last thing I want to do is like pay off my student loans, and then like the next week some bill is passed, so like, oh, we'll forgive $10,000 in loans, So we're waiting a little bit on that, but I don't know. I think just having, I've been in a situation in my life where I don't have any money, like at all. I had like $9 to my name and like no food in the house. And that's just a really sucky situation to be in. If you try starting a reselling business out of desperation because you don't have money, that's a good reason to start a business. But when you're in that desperate mindset, it can lead you to make some poor decisions. And it can also be really difficult to reinvest. A lot of people will sell something for $100 or so and then use that money to live off of. And then they get their eBay invoice at the end of the month, and
they've got no money to keep buying inventory.
Yeah, like there's a couple people I've met that like can't sell on eBay because they never saved enough money to pay their eBay invoices. So eBay just like banned their account because they didn't pay their eBay invoice. Luckily now I think eBay's doing away with the invoice and all that stuff. But
I like how they instantly take it out now.
Now it's
so that's yours, and you put your money away for taxes. So.
Yeah, and then taxes too. I don't know. Like if a lot of people starting to resell to help pay off debt, and they just maybe put too much of their money towards paying off debt, and then they get to the end of the year and they find out like, oh, you owe $4,000 in taxes, and you've got $500 in your account, and I don't know. Like when I was a self-employed insurance agent, I didn't have enough to pay my income taxes the first year, and luckily the IRS lets you make payments on your owed income taxes one time. So that was like my one time that I was able to make payments. It was like $900, but I was poor. Then that $900 was a lot of money. So I made payments on that for a year. But then now, like whatever you owe in taxes, you owe in taxes. You can't make payments on it. So just having the ability to run your business in a way, thoughtful, using a bookkeeping software like GoDaddy. I saw, I think Flippy McFlipperson was in the chat earlier and mentioned GoDaddy. I use GoDaddy. It's awesome. Hustle and Hooks has their reseller spreadsheet, which is awesome as well. And just keeping good records and saving money. So you just have to, as a business owner, you have to have a high level of responsibility. You have to know how to sell things and keep track of profits and save money for taxes and put money towards debt. And honestly, it's kind of suck because at first, pretty much all the money you make is either going to be saved for taxes or put towards debt. If that's your goal, if that's what should happen. So even if you have a really good sale, it's going to take some, again, a high
discipline.
level, some discipline and responsibility to put that money where it's needed to go, and not, Joey just sold something yesterday for like $200. You paid like $10 for. Mm-hmm. Like it's really easy to get that sale and get it into your PayPal account or whatever, and you're like, oh, let me go back to the thrift store, buy some more stuff, and so you just gotta have a high level of responsibility. But with paying off debt.
Well, let me say this real quick too. People also think that if you sell something for $200, you made $200. But the problem is you didn't make $200. If you paid
free shipping,
Yeah, if you paid $10 for it, you're still making really, really good profit. But something that shows that you sold for $200 really looks like, more like $111 after, cost of goods, shipping, fees, taxes, especially if you offered free shipping on a bigger item, and so you have to really know your numbers when it comes to that kind of stuff, because that's why if you like go back and look at, some of my last posts on Instagram, if I ever share like package pictures, which I know Josh has mentioned before, like he doesn't like the package picture type of stuff because people don't give context. And if you look at mine, I try to give context saying like 27 sales out the door for $2,100 total. Cost of goods was $280. Fees was this much. This is how much pre-tax and then after tax I walk away with. And a $2,100 week, or a $2,100 weekend in sales really only amounts to, let's say, $1,300 or $1,400 in net profit, which is still really good, but it's a way different number than $2,100. So if you're putting $1,800 towards your taxes or towards your debts, and then $300 towards buying more inventory, you didn't put any money away for your eBay fees. You didn't put any money away to go buy more inventory, and now you're working with negative money in your bank account to keep buying more inventory. So you have to really be aware of your numbers there and know that, a $200 sale is not $200 in your pocket.
And I've said in past videos as well, like I think it's important to have some cash saved in your business account for opportunities to buy. Like I said, I just kind of pile up money in that account. We don't really spend it on anything. So, if I found some, my golf club deal for $1,260, I'm like, hey Haley, we got this. Anytime I spend a lot of money, I always, oh, we're back. Joey got up and ruined it. Anytime I have a big opportunity like that, I talk to my wife and just tell her what's going on, and she's. It's not like she's going to say no. She just wants to be involved in the loop on big purchases like that. But she knows that, I know what I'm doing. I know I'm not going to generally, I'm not going to spend a lot of money on something without, being able to ensure profit in some way or another.
That's what happened to me with Rally Roots. When I bought all those shoes, Ryan called me, and I wasn't expecting his phone call. And then, so Ryan called me, and I walked out into the couch. My wife was watching TV with my kids, and I was like, babe, I've got a business proposal. Don't be mad, but I'm about to spend $300 or $3,000, and I got to go tomorrow. But then we talked about it. I explained it, and I told her, like, listen, I'm not going to let these shoes pile up in the house. I'm going to grind it out. And sure enough, I did. And in 3 days, I made my initial money back. I actually doubled my investment in 3 days from that deal. And I'm still making money from it by selling those shoes. But yeah, so I got my initial investment back, put it in our bank account, and then all the profits after that was, from the wholesale shoes, from selling on eBay, all that kind of stuff.
Shout out to Chris rolling with Stones. He says, game controllers, game controllers, game controllers.
He also said, when I sell something for $200, I really made $250 in profit. Figure that one out, boys.
I'm assuming, I don't know, do you either charge extra for shipping, like charge $100 for shipping when it only costs $50 and you got the item for free, or somebody paid you to take the item and sell it for them or something? I don't know how that works out. But that's awesome though.
So someone asked earlier, have any of us ever done storage units, and would we ever do them? And I've looked into them multiple times. I have never had any luck with them personally, like trying to buy them on online, on auctions. They are very competitive in Florida. I'm talking about auctions with like ripped mattresses and garbage bags, with more trash bags in them, selling for $1,500.
I got a $1,500. Can I get a $1,600? $1,600.
Oh, we got $1,600 over here. Let me get a 14. Let me get a. Let's go backwards. $200. I don't know why I said 14.
1,400.
Oh, hey there, pal. Let's get up to 1,800. Here we go. 2,000 on the court. Here we go. How about a 2,200 over here? Oh boy.
But yeah, storage units. The TV show I think has really kind of changed the storage unit game for sure, and YouTubers. I mean, you have people like What the Hales who buy storage units, and
that's the thing. It's not bad, but when you have the ability to film yourself opening a storage unit and like guarantee like tripling your profit just on the YouTube AdSense, it allows you to spend more on the unit than anybody else could. If somebody doesn't have the YouTube AdSense or the ad revenue to offset the cost of the unit, they have to actually look at the unit and make sure it's a profitable purchase. That's like for me in the Goodwill pallets. Like I wasn't buying the Goodwill pallets because I thought it was going to make thousands of dollars. I was buying them for the videos. I've said that in multiple pallet videos. I actually have one Goodwill mystery pallet left that I haven't opened yet. I'm really curious what kind of creatures.
Should we open it today?
No. Well, maybe. But I, like those videos did good, but I didn't find anything crazy. We made money because you're buying $25 pallets. But
you found a dead body in your last one.
Well, a live animal.
Live animal
in mystery pallet.
But yeah, just it's, I don't know, when you bring it in YouTube to a category like that, it makes the market price increase. With a Goodwill pallet, they were $25, but the videos were so good. I would have paid 100, 150 for a pallet. At least the first one just to make the first video.
Yeah.
So that kind of skews the market when you have people like that are willing to pay really more than anything's worth just for the video.
Well, and you have people that have like the cash. So like again, for example, storage lockers is a perfect example of when someone like a Logan Paul or a very wealthy person has a lot of money. I've heard that what's the guy's name? I can't think of who it was, but one of the guys from Storage Wars, the TV show or the series, got into buying storage lockers because they made like millions of dollars on the stock market, like got a lucky hit, made millions of dollars, and then didn't know what to do with it. So they're like, well, I'll just start buying storage lockers and hoping to find treasures, and then they end up on a TV show and then getting paid from that and all those kinds of things. And so sometimes like you have those type of people as well that, even on the TV show, I mean, it's a little skewed on the TV show because they know they're going to outbid somebody just for the TV show series and stuff. But people are bidding on stuff just to be competitive and say they won a locker, and hope that there's something, rare in there. But like Philly Flipper bought a $30 storage locker recently, and he opened it. He was going through it on his live, and he found like a bunch of pairs of Nike Jordan shoes. And so like one pair would pay for the whole storage unit, and then he's making hundreds of dollars. So you can get lucky and have good deals out there. I just don't actively search them. But I think it would be something fun to do. Like maybe with Joey one day, like we could, try to find a locker together in Florida and open it for a video or something. Yeah. But
I think it's all about like the success percentage. Like you could buy 20 storage lockers and lose money on every single one.
Yeah.
But I can go to a thrift store and 9 times out of 10, probably more than that, probably like 95 times out of 100, I can find something profitable to sell.
Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity cost for sure.
Yeah.
If you've got the money to give away,
I guess you could say, and basically gamble. It's like going to the casino. You go to the casino and you put your money on red and it hits black. It's the same thing with the storage lockers. You put money in something you're not really sure of, unless you see like a big piece of furniture or whatever, But
and then usually if you buy a storage unit, you have to clean it out. They give you like 24 or 48 hours. You have to take everything. So if there's a bunch of junk, you've got to hire a truck or something, or have a truck to take that to the dump. And sometimes dumps charge you to dump that stuff. So your $200 locker is now $250 just to get rid of the trash.
Yep. You got to put in the labor. You got to have a truck or a trailer.
Yes. So. Yeah. It's just, I get people all the time, like at least once a week, asking me if I'm ever going to buy a storage unit. And the answer is always no. I'm not getting into that.
So,
Tim in the chat, what's up, Tim? He says, what's your favorite category to resell and why? So, Joey, what's your favorite category to sell?
My favorite category has to be probably like electronics or games. They just sell so fast. I mean,
your GameCube stuff was amazing.
Yeah,
you got all that.
I found actually before that, I found 4 GameCube games at a Goodwill, and I spent $4 each on them, but I made like $250 like net profit, which is nuts. I sold one video game for $100, another for $80, another for $60 and like $50. So like it's just crazy to see how much you could make on GameCube games. I mean, they're old. Like, how does that even happen? Then a buddy of mine from a coworker at my work, he literally gave me GameCube games. Shout out to Chris if you're ever watching this. But I made a lot of money on that too. So it's just crazy to even just telling people what you do.
That's the key right there.
Like, hey, I'm a reseller. If you have anything that you don't want or need, I'll take it. And my coworkers give me stuff all the time because they're delivering mail and they see something in the trash. Shout out to my man Jason. He gave me a turntable that sells for like $50. So that was a free thing that I got from my buddy, and he's helping me and I help him. He washes cars, so I'll go to him and he'll wash my car and I'll say, hey, shout out to Jason, and I'll make like an Instagram post, and people are like, hey, I want a car wash, one of my local friends. And that's how you create business.
That's something I like about like influencer marketing. Like some people like turn their nose up about like, Instagram influencers that go into a restaurant and like offer like, hey, if you give me a free meal, I'll give you a shout out to my 100,000 followers. And somebody like, oh, it's just that, they don't like that. But that gets back to like the roots of like trading, back in the day before we had money. Like oh, you're a brick mason and I'm a fisherman. I'll give you a bunch of fish if you like build a house for me. You know, like taking like the money out of it, like just straight trading items. I love that. And if you have if you have an Instagram audience or a social media following that's like actually, you know, engaging, you know, there's Instagram pages with 1 million followers, but you know, they get like 30 likes per post. They're just buying followers. But if you spend years of your time building an audience that you actually have influence with, and you can trade, you know, get into brand deals. Like I get brand deal offers all the time, but like I try to be selective, and when I pick some, I try to make sure that it's a company that, or a product that would actually be beneficial, and so I don't know, if you try to monetize and push too much stuff, people are going to get tired of that really, really quickly. But
so what's your favorite thing to resell? Golf clubs?
I do really like golf clubs. Just, I mean, they're not that hard to ship. I mean, it's...
Do you bubble wrap golf clubs before you put them in the mailing tube? Or do you just put them in the mailing
I usually just wrap them in that paper. Like
packing paper?
Yeah, packing paper. I haven't actually used bubble wrap a lot. I have this guy that works at... we have an Amazon place here that does like print-on-demand books, which is really interesting. Like you can write a book and like list it on Amazon, and kind of like my Printful t-shirts. Like if somebody orders a book, Amazon will print that one book and send it out to them. It's pretty cool. And they have like leftover paper. So he sent me like this roll. The thing was like 16 inches in diameter. And he's like, yeah, if you ever need more, just let me know. So that's going to last me for probably 2 years. And
that's awesome.
Then I'll go back and get more. But I mean, video games are awesome. Like anytime you find... I found a bunch of empty GameCube cases at Salvation Army the other day for free. They just gave them to me, and I've sold all of them. Like I think I sold one for like it was a Super Smash Brothers Melee with no manual inside, and that sold for like 15, and the other one with the manual I think it sold for like 22 plus shipping.
I think video games is like the holy grail of reselling for most people.
It's gonna sell. Like in my starting from zero challenge, my eBay store with 5 feedback, I sold all my video games in 24 hours. Like people don't care about your feedback, they don't care about anything. If you're selling video games, they want them, and they're willing to pay market value. It's like the best category to sell for sure.
I think it's definitely like, if not number one, probably top 3 for sure of like fastest selling and most profitable stuff for what you can normally find it for. You know, now I pay up for stuff. Like I'll buy a Nintendo Wii bundle on Facebook Marketplace for $50 and flip it for $120 because I know it sells fast. Yeah. You know, like I can double my money on a Nintendo Wii, but I'm not going to pay, you know, $50 for a Nike jacket because the market has so many Nike jackets, unless it's an extremely rare one. You know, it's not going to sell as fast as a Nintendo Wii. So I definitely think video games is up there, and I think vintage clothing is really a really cool market. You have to have the right pieces, but the Instagram community is blowing up for that. Yep. But I like selling shoes because it's like a bread and butter item for me at this point. Like you can buy shoes for $5 to $10 and sell them for $30, $40, $50, $60 all day. And it's just a nice bread and butter item. I actually... Oh, hello, camera.
Sorry.
It's a nice bread and butter item that you can... Let me see if I can reset this up real quick for us. Whoop, there we go. That you can sell and make good profit on, and I forgot what I was going to say about that, but anyway, I do enjoy selling shoes. Looks like Josh is rechanging a battery here, but
sorry.
This is what happens in a live podcast, hanging out here. But someone else said, Conru said, if you could go back and start over, knowing what you know now, what would you tweak about starting your business? I would say, for me, it would just be logging everything from day one. My mileage, you know, that I'm driving everywhere, my cost of goods, my everything. Like the first couple months, I didn't think I was going to actually make it reselling. I was just doing it to make money while I was looking for a job. And then I turned it into a full-time living. So just being disciplined and recording everything right off the bat.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that. They get into it and they think it's not going to be anything. Like, I don't need to keep records because I'm just going to make a couple $100, you know, and be done with it. And then a year later, they've made $40,000 and they haven't kept track of anything. And they're like, they go to file their taxes and they don't have any record or anything at all. So the very first thing if you want to resell at all, before you list anything on eBay, start a separate bank account. Put $20 in there. Use that $20 to buy your first couple items at a thrift store or whatever, and keep track of stuff from the beginning. It's so much easier. Talk to anybody who's had to go back through their personal bank account over the last 12 months to pick out transactions that were part of their reselling business. It's the biggest headache you could ever imagine. So and checking account is free. Most checking accounts are free nowadays, so there's no reason not to.
I actually just sold a pair.
Pair of shoes, ironically, on eBay. I sold a pair of Vans skate shoes for $48 plus shipping. So $44.95 plus shipping. So $55 sale. Let's go.
Let's go!
All right, boys, we're over an hour. So you guys want to go and wrap it up so we can go to the thrift store?
Let's go.
I got to go change my dirty shirt. So good
Any
hunting. Hey,
last words, guys?
Joey,
On the
what
live
was
podcast?
if you could go back and start and change anything from knowing where you are now as a reseller when you started as a mailman, what would be the first thing you would change?
I wouldn't have worked for Publix or the post office. I would have done this from the beginning.
Well, there you go. There you have it, folks.
Joey would have went full time right off the rip.
Instantly, like right out of high school, just like my man Ty. Shout out to Ty if you're watching this.
He is. He was
I
in the
love
chat.
this.
Here in my...
Check out my Lamborghini on the wall here.
The secret to wealth is reading books. I read
Knowledge.
six books every single day.
knowledge. I don't live in the Hollywood Hills all the time. You see, I found a mentor, and he took me off the streets living off a bench, and now I drive a Lamborghini because I gained knowledge.
And then you got Gary V's like, I don't read books. I've written more books than I've read.
I don't read books. Like literally, you don't need to read books on anything.
Books are like the most outdated source of information. You
So
can go
underrated.
on freaking YouTube and learn anything. College is a waste of time.
Like, literally, all you need to do is subscribe to Joey Bada Bing 22, and you can learn everything about life, like, literally, and the New York Jets are going to win the Super Bowl.
Freaking Resi resales.
Resi.
Resi. Like, he calls it Resi every time. $600,000 in used books. Drew is really good at impersonations, and I am not. At least not Gary V.
Bam said, I just got here and y'all are done. Well, you can go back and re-listen to it because it's going to be on our podcast channel, obviously. And so
I wish we
Yeah.
could do this like every week.
just want to say thank you as we're closing up to all of our watchers, viewers, listeners, supporters. You guys are mainly the reason that we do all of this.
We obviously do it to provide for our families and have a career, but if it wasn't for you guys like supporting us, encouraging us, and lifting us up and telling us that you love what we do, we wouldn't keep making these podcasts, because I could be at the bins right now in South Carolina while Josh and Joey are still sleeping, because I get up earlier than all of them.
What are you talking about?
No, Josh is up at like 5 in the morning, Joey's up at like 6, and I woke up at like 8:30. So, but thank you guys so much for being
Being here, hanging out with us. And if you're listening on any Apple or any podcast platform or audio platform, I guess you would say,
Apple, for sure.
Apple platform, audio platforms. Like, literally, we love you so much. You guys are amazing. And literally, you just need to just do it and go on stage and be a coach or sell yourself. And you can make millions of monies.
Just do it!
Love you so much.
Thanks guys for hanging out.
We love you!
Where's my mouse? How do you end this thing?
You just press